There's actually only one question you need. Only one question you need. Who am I? That's all. Just come to some clarity about that. Come to a clarity of seeing about this one. And all other questions get answered. Can it be this simple? Everything else that we speak about in Satsang is in service to this inquiry. At some level, we can say that it's all been one big misunderstanding. But even that it has not been. It's all been one big play. This sticky idea that I could be something which is contained inside this body. That I could be something which is a combination of this body and this mind. There is no such combination. There is no such thing as the body-mind complex. It's just a conceptual idea. The body is a set of energies appearing in this form, and our mind, thoughts are a set of energies which are also appearing and disappearing. There is no entity which is the owner of either of these. So get used to the point that your name points to nothing. Your name points to nothing. And your true name, which is the self, points to no thing, from which all things come and go. Just the other day I was saying that Ananta is dead. Yeah? But more accurate would be to say that it never existed, this one. Ananta or Tapan, whatever this name was identified with here, really had no tangible existence. Something clicked somewhere. It's like the player of the video game. Huh? Suppose you're playing Super Mario Brothers or something. And you're the player of this game. You're the witness of this game. And yet you have the power to identify, and you play it as if you're Mario. Now, for a long time, we have played as if we are whatever your name is. But now it is time to recognize the truth of what we are. You're not just a bundle of bits and bytes, not just a bundle of atoms and molecules, flesh and blood. You're much beyond that. So much beyond that that you cannot fathom it mentally. Even the largest space that you can imagine, the most infinite time that you is nothing for the reality of who you are. And this question is all that is needed. Who am I? And the tip I want to give you is that don't settle for any answer. No matter how true the answer might sound, don't settle for it. You see, the answer is not the answer. When you realize what these words mean, then know that you're coming close to true insight, to true self-recognition. So reject all answers, because answers are only conceptual. The other day in my house, we read a story. We read this story which was very nice and describes this entire game actually and the game of Satsang. So I feel to read this story to you. It is a story from the Yoga Vashisht, from a book called Vashisht Yoga by Swami Venkatesananda. It is the story of the great forest. So sage Vashisht is speaking, and I'll start from the middle. He says, in this connection, there is the following legend, which I heard from the creator Brahma himself. Listen to it attentively. And we'll go very slowly so you can assimilate the words and really see what they are pointing to. There was a great forest, so large that millions of square miles were like the space within an atom in it. So large that millions of square miles were like the space within an atom in it. In it, there was just one person who had 1,000 arms and limbs. Just one person who had 1,000 arms and limbs. He was forever restless. And all of us have this person. This that is forever restless. He had a mace in his hand with which he beat himself, and afraid of the beating, he ran away in panic. He had a mace in his hand with which he beat himself, and afraid of the beating, he ran away in panic, showing us that all suffering is person-inflicted. He fell into a blind well. He came out of it, beat himself again, and again ran away in panic, this time into a forest. He came out of it, again beat himself, and ran away again in panic, this time into a banana grove. Though there was no other being to fear, he wept and cried aloud in fear. There was no other being to fear. Yet he wept and cried aloud in fear. He kept running as before, beating himself as before. I witnessed all this intuitively, and with the power of my will, I restrained him for a moment. I asked him, "Who are you?" But he was sorely distressed and called me his enemy and wept aloud and then laughed aloud. I asked him, "Who are you?" But he was sorely distressed and called me his enemy and wept aloud and then laughed aloud. Then he began to abandon his body limb by limb. Immediately after this, I saw another person running like the first one, beating himself, weeping, and wailing. When I similarly restrained him, he began to abuse me and ran away, intent on his own way of life. Like this, I came across several persons. Some listened to my words and, abandoning their previous way of life, became enlightened. Some others ignored me or even held me in contempt. Some others even refused to come out of the blind well or the dense forest. Such is the great forest, O Ram. No one finds a sure resting place in it, whatever be the mode of life they may adopt. Even today, you see such people in the world, and you yourself have seen such a life of ignorance and delusion. Because you are young and ignorant, you do not understand it. This great forest is not far away, nor is that strange man in a strange land. This world itself is the forest. It is a great void, but this void is seen only in the light of inquiry. The light of inquiry is the eye in the parable. This wisdom is accepted by some and rejected by others who continue to suffer. Those who accept it are enlightened. The person with thousands of arms is the mind with countless manifestations. This mind punishes itself by its own latent tendencies and restlessly wanders in this world. The blind well in the story is hell, and the banana grove is heaven. The dense forest of thorny bush is the life of a worldly man, with the numerous thorns of wife, children, wealth, etc., hurting him all the time. The mind now wanders into hell, now into heaven, and now into the world of human beings. Even when the light of wisdom shines on the life of the deluded mind, it foolishly rejects it, considering that the wisdom is its enemy. Then it weeps and wails in distress. Sometimes it experiences an imperfect awakening, and it renounces the pleasures of the world without proper understanding. Such renunciation itself proves to be a great source of sorrow. Sometimes it experiences an imperfect awakening, and it renounces the pleasures of the world without proper understanding. Such renunciation itself proves to be a great source of sorrow. But when such renunciation arises out of the fullness of understanding, of wisdom born of inquiry into the nature of the mind, the renunciation leads to supreme bliss. Such a mind may even look at its own past notions of pleasure with puzzlement, just as the limbs of the person, as they were cut away, fell down and disappeared. The latent tendencies of the person who wisely renounces the world also vanish from the world. Behold the play of ignorance, which makes one's heart, which makes one hurt oneself out of one's own volition, and which makes one run hither and thither in meaningless panic. Though the light of self-knowledge shines in every heart, yet one wanders in this world, driven by one's own latent desires. We'll stop there. So how long will we be this thousand-handed, thousand-limbed creature, or pretend to be this one? The sage asks the question, who are you? What are you running from? Our own ideas, our own delusions are all that can seemingly hurt us. If you don't go with your thoughts and your feelings, and you check right now, just in pure inquiry, who am I? Without settling for an answer, whatever you are witnessing, find out who is the witness. And whether that witness can be witnessed. Who is aware of the perceiver? Who is aware of your presence? Is it not you? What does this I look like? Don't visualize. Look. Don't think. Look. Don't feel. Just look. Whatever might be happening, whatever is being experienced, You are aware of it. And this awareness is unhurt, unconcerned actually. And every time you buy a thought from this mind, you're picking up the mace to hurt yourself. To play the game of suffering. If you were dead, what suffering could you have? And you are beyond dead. The identity never actually lived. What concerns do you have now that you are dead?
That I don't have life.
Who has this concern? Who has this concern? The one that is the presumed owner of this life, who says, this is my life, this is the way I want to live my life, this is how I am. It's just a big presumption. I am telling you that you are the witness of this game. And you say that I am Mario. Many times we use this term, I am the unborn. If this is your experience, then whose life is this? And if we cannot even find whose life this is, then what to say about our problems and our concerns and our relationships? So in this game, the wonder will be whether you check this for yourself, whether you see this for yourself, or whether you run from this, whether you run from this quietly or you run from this kicking and screaming. The sage says, some heard me. They looked at this question, who are you? And all the limbs, all the conditioning, these latent tendencies, they were allowed to drop off. There was another who felt like the sage was attacking him. So all these possibilities exist in the play. And the sages have said, as long as we have this presumption of choice, let's make the choice to inquire. Till one day automatically it will be seen that even this seeming choice was part of the play of the one consciousness itself. But till then, till there is a semblance of doership, check on who you are. No other action, no other ritual, no other practice is needed. Ask yourself, who am I? And don't proclaim any answer. Let your master make that proclamation for you. Remain empty of all ideas. Is that which we claim ourselves to be, can it remain without thoughts? Can it survive? Whatever separation you might believe has happened, it needs the nourishment of your next thought to sustain this wrong belief. So use the inquiry, who am I, to come to the truth of the recognition of who you are, and simply allow all these concepts, thoughts, and ideas to come and go so that you don't pick up any fresh conditioning. Allow these arms to fall off. Many times, what we are doing is that the old arms are falling off and we are building new ones, the spiritual arms. Allow all of them to fall off. Remain empty. These words are coming. I don't know if they're statistically accurate or not, but they're coming, so I'll say them. No master has ever become a master by trying to become a master. All sages are only an expression of this emptiness, of this openness. Allow all your intentions, ambitions, aversions, desires. Allow this moment to dissolve all of them. Right now they are gone. But if you pick on a fruit from this false tree of knowledge called the mind, right now the separation will start to seem real again. This is the only game that is being played. You experience freedom every moment, right now. But you buy the story of bondage. You buy the story of me. Stop writing this story. Leave the chapter midway. Leave the page empty. There is no but after I am awareness. You are the one solitary witness of all that is. No ifs, no buts, nothing at all. It's a high that can be picked up, is not the real I.